And good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Crystal, what's on the show today?
Well, Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and people have a lot of questions, rightfully so. We'll get into that. There's also some new polling out that's pretty interesting, and all the candidates have been traipsing through Iowa. We've got the head of the Iowa Democratic Party to go through all of that and more today on Rising. All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
I'm taking a look at the events over the weekend where billionaire Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Manhattan Correctional, at the MCC in downtown Manhattan. This is just the latest in a string of unbelievable events, literally unbelievable, in the highest level corruption that many have seen in decades. Now recall, Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted in the mid-2000s in Miami. However, he was let off with a sweetheart deal where he only served 13 months in the Palm Beach County Jail. He was given work leave time 6 days a week for 12 hours, only required to register as a sex offender, despite running a literal pedophile ring that spanned New York City, Palm Beach County, his own private island, which was nicknamed, or he had a plane that was nicknamed the Lolita Express. The man should have been behind bars a decade ago. It looked like we were on track to actually getting him. However, for some inexplicable reason, even after Epstein already attempted suicide, he was not placed on suicide watch. Current reports indicate that there's no camera footage of what was happening, that these inmates were supposed to be checked on everywhere from either 15 minutes when you're on suicide watch to every 30 minutes, and the man was able to hang himself in one of the most secure facilities in the world. Before this, the MCC was touted as a place that was literally unescapable, as a place where prisoners were always had an eye on. This is where they kept El Chapo, one of the world's biggest escape artists, during his trial, and nothing happened to him. And yet, with only a few weeks of custody, Jeffrey Epstein was able to commit suicide. Congressional inquiries are already being demanded. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted that we demand answers as a member of the United States Congress. Senator Ben Sasse says, given Epstein's previous attempted suicide, he should have been locked in a padded room under unbroken 24/7 constant surveillance. Obviously, heads must roll. He wrote this in a letter to the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, Bill Barr. All of this is to say is that events like these, already the fact that Epstein was not prosecuted for so long and allowed to go scot-free, the only reason he was even being prosecuted was because of the tenacious journalism of the Miami Herald. The fact that he killed himself after such a short time in custody, it has led to an explosion of conspiracy theories online, with trending Trump body count, Clinton body count, because of Epstein's connection to so many powerful individuals in this country. All of this undermines the criminal justice system in this country. All of this undermines the confidence of the criminal justice system of the American people. Whenever we are unable to prevent and bring justice for many of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, and the fact that he was barely prosecuted in the first place, Crystal, I think it's just the final end to a tragic story, and I think we have to demand answers, because it's like I said, I mean, literally, I have never seen such a massive explosion of conspiracy theories online, and it's because the official explanation is so unbelievable.
Yeah, well, and the frickin' president of the United States sharing conspiracy theories, which is just wildly irresponsible and unbelievable. But you're right, Saagar. I mean, look, no one is going to mourn the death of Jeffrey Epstein, but what we do mourn is the fact that he will now never be held accountable. We will now never learn the full extent of what was done here, and his victims will never truly get justice. And now you have to look back at that sweetheart deal that he got from Alex Acosta and say, that guy had him in his radar. He could have exposed the whole thing. He could have truly brought him down at that moment, and he missed, and now we'll never get another chance.
That's the worst part, is we won't get the trial. I mean, the trial is where a lot of this information would have come out. And look, I mean, it's also not fair to just slander people based on release of documents or Jeffrey Epstein's diary. I mean, all of this could have gone through a rigorous cross-examination. It could have been an examination of the gross tying of the American elite to Jeffrey Epstein. But instead, it ends here. And I see why people are so concerned concerned or so bewildered by this, because it's like, how do we possibly allow this to happen? The DOJ needs to, I mean, they've already said they're going to kick it to the Inspector General's report and all of that, but at this point, the confidence in the criminal justice system has been so undermined that I think it's a big problem.
I agree. I think the most likely explanation is the simplest one. He killed himself.
Yeah.
He tried to kill himself before he was facing
life. And there's rank incompetence, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And prison suicide is shockingly more common than you would expect. But I understand, too, why people have a lot of questions when, how could he possibly, such a high-profile person, how could he possibly have been allowed to be alone and have the opportunity to do this, and again, deny the justice and accountability that his victims deserve.